Hi. Um, Welcome. You should know me by now. If not, again, Tim Neubacher, member of the Dean's Office, and so on and so forth. I also welcome all the participants across the world. Wie war das früher immer? Wir begrüßen auch unsere Zuschauer in der Schweiz und in Österreich. All right. I'm going to present, as already said, some of the systems used for different purposes in our department or in the university in general. And not that easy, probably, to use. You will get to know that after my introduction to Tucan, most likely. I'm going to do that as a live demo. So there may be problems or whatsoever. Take that into account. Let's see how it works out. And what you can see, oh no, what you can't see, wait. Uh-oh. Ah, okay. Live demo. What you can see more or less, actually. As on Monday, I hope you have good eyes, is the starting page of Tucan. You should have probably seen that if you have looked up courses offered in this term already, because you can find the course schedule, the Vorlesungsverzeichnis there. In order to access the more relevant parts, you have to log in. And therefore, I use a test system in the back end of Tucan, and I created a student with the TUID. What you can see, it's not existing in reality, so don't try it out. I think that's it. The password is test1, and you can't use it, so it doesn't matter. Okay, as soon as you're logged in, you will see something like that. And then it's like, okay, how do I have to do? I don't know. Okay, I think I want to register for something, probably. Okay, so you have to follow. Oh, please ignore that one. Your own personal course schedule. It works more or less, but not always reliable. So probably create your own schedule or use another tool, whatever, right? So you have to follow this way. I'm using the German version, but it's essentially the same in English, of course. And then you will see a lot of explanation. Please cross-read everything you will find in Tucan, because it might be important. And it's way better to read something unimportant than missing something out. And then you usually just go to the registration section. Fair enough. So you will find the structure of your own study program there. In this case, it's the basic Master of Computer Science in the current regulation. Ignore the validation part. That's something set by the examination office as soon as you're done with your studies. That's required because some of the rules are not really checked by Tucan, and our examination office has to cross-check your achievements when you're actually done or almost done. So at some point you will see a validation module that's green checked in your own overview of your achievements, and that means that the examination office has checked the rules and everything's fine as long as you finish the last missing achievements you're registered for. The master thesis can't be registered on your own as well, so forget about that. Also, you have to submit a registration form to register for a thesis, and the examination office will add the data into Tucan for you. Then there are two different sections below. Additional courses and further courses in English or something like it. I have no idea why, because the only thing that makes sense are the additional courses, where you will find, for example, the catalogs. Yes? Good question. The question is whether I can zoom in. Okay, now I have to move around a bit. If you have to puke, leave the room. Okay, so in the additional course area, you can find all the catalogs from every department. You can register, as I said yesterday in my talk, also for the imposed conditions, at least partly, via the catalog of the Department 20, Computer Science. Probably interesting, the modules and courses are starting with 2 digits, indicating the department offering the module or course. So if you find a module starting with the digit 20, it's from the Department of Computer Science, 18 Electrical Engineering, and so on and so forth. Everything you register here won't be included in your study program, first of all. The problem is that in case you search for a course in the course schedule and then register, it will most likely, or actually always, be registered via the additional course area. Because Tucan thinks, well, if there is more than one way to register to a module, we should use the probably least hazardous one, let's say. And it's usually forbidden to transfer credits from the additional course area into the regular ones. So please, for the registration of modules and courses, always follow the right path. And that's what I'm going to show now. So if you follow the registration path, you will see the elective areas here and the minor. And if you steer into the area, you will see the division, the 2 sections. As I explained yesterday, the lectures, integrated lectures, Fachprüfung, and the seminars, labs, similar thingies, internships and teaching via the elective area of the Studienleistung. While you will find seminars and labs to register already, and take your time. Okay, live demo, working out perfectly. Nothing's happening anymore. Perfect. Wait. Huh, I killed Tucan. Okay, so hopefully it works now. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. Prepare for the same. Okay. That actually never happened. Okay, wait. Okay, just imagine that you will see some seminars here. Doesn't matter, so it's a whole bunch of seminars and labs and whatever it is. Impressive speed. And then you will find seminars and it's actually possible to register to them first of all, but labs and seminars and interns for teaching are usually restricted in number of places for students. So therefore, there's most likely something like a kick-off meeting you have to attend in order to get into the seminars. And there will also be a presentation of the topics and the way the labs or seminars are working out in the current term. And if too many students are registering for a seminar and dropping by in the kick-off meeting, they will draw straws, more or less, in order to spread the places across the applicants for the same. Sometimes they will have some small assessments or something. That's actually a security measurement because it's not always easy to identify whether you're able to follow a specific topic in a lab or seminar. And if you don't have the competencies, you will achieve a bad grade or even fail, and that doesn't make sense. Look up the websites and the Moodle courses and whatever is available for the seminars and labs, because every group has an own way to solve this issue. You can't register to more than 2 seminars at once, because that's the rule in Tucan, for this study program at least 1 seminar, topmost 2 seminars. So if you register to 2 seminars, you can't register another one. So make sure to identify all the rules before you actually register to seminars in Tucan. Same for the labs, actually. Okay, so that's the easy part. And then, if you steer into the elective areas of the examination-related achievements, you will see nothing at all. Why? Because first of all, you have to select your elective areas. So let's assume I want to do something in the area of IT security. And just to make it complete now, let's select a minor. Optimization. Because this is most likely not really going to work out well. Now, after you selected your elective areas and the minor, you steer into this area of the Fachprüfungen, you will see exactly this elective area. And then you should, and now it's going to take some time, I guess. That's the reason why you should chillax a lot. I'm quite sure that we do have some courses there. Public key infrastructures is offered again. Okay. That's a course I did on my own when I did my diploma studies here. I can recommend the topic. So anyways, and now the pain is starting. Registration. As you can see, you have a module. That's the first one, and then you have a course included within the module, indicated with the last 2 digits, and IV meaning integrated course, VL lecture, UE exercise, SE seminar, and so on and so forth. So you can identify the type of a course by the number actually, and you will find these numbers in the course schedule because it's a course schedule and not a module schedule. On the other hand, the credits are bound to the modules, so you will only identify the credits for the modules you want to register for via this registration, and only once. And then the next time you will see the same only after you passed or failed, whatever. And you can actually, after you registered, you can't identify whether you registered in the right area. It wasn't a joke when I told you yesterday to make screenshots. I mean, we can look that up, but it's also a pain in the ass for us. Please make sure that you're really steering into the right area before registering. The good thing, you can unregister for a lot of time afterwards and register in the right way then. So let's start the registration. So I want to register. Okay, yeah, it's public key infrastructure, sure. Yeah, it's public key, I want to, okay, let's register. Okay, back to the registration, fair enough. Problem, some information is bound to the module, some information bound to the course. And now as you register to the module, you can register to the course. Yeah, it's public key infrastructure, the course. Okay, yeah. Yeah, really. Okay. And now you're actually registered to the module and the course, and you're yet not registered to the exam. There's a different deadline, most likely, and only if you register to everything, you will find the registration for the examinations via the, I think it's actually here in this area. To see them, not sure, it shouldn't actually work out already, right? Yeah. Unfortunately not. Oh, well, maybe, wait. I'm not so sure about the deadlines for the registration, but I think it starts later on. Examination, okay, fair enough. So we don't have to do that. Same for the minor. You will definitely find the structure here. So there's a mandatory area for this one. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, as I promised. So the problem with these minors from mathematical department is that they have a turnus for the different minors, and not every minor is startable in the same way each term. You have to get in touch probably with the Department of Mathematics or us in order to clarify, is it really a good idea to start with this minor and this term? For the other ones, it should work out way better. That's due to the specific way of providing lectures in the Department of Mathematics. Okay, fair enough. So now you're registered to everything. Hopefully you've done your screenshots in order that something is missing or wrong or whatever. And then you still can't see any information on the courses because only very few lecturers tend to use Tucan as the way to communicate to students, to provide material and whatsoever. And there's one thing to mention before I switch to the Moodle systems, because that's usually the way how to communicate and spread the material. If there's an exercise included as well, specifically from other departments, so electrical engineering, for example, but also other departments, and sometimes for our department, definitely register to the exercises. Because sometimes there's an automatic way to transfer students from Tucan into the hidden or forbidden courses in the central HRZ Moodle system, but only the ones registered for the exercises will be automatically transferred into the courses. If you miss the same, you have to get in touch with the lecturers and wait till they actually add you by hand and. So taking time, and you might be missing some important information at the beginning. So essentially, it's register for everything that might make sense. I'm sorry. Okay, but it's, to be honest, I was already part of the introduction of this management system several years ago, and it's actually way better. So it could be worse. I mean, you shouldn't compare with the worse, right? But believe me, it is way better compared. Okay. Any question? Oh wait, there's one important part because we're going to be a real digital university. You can now request several things and change several things online and not on paper as before. And therefore, this is the overview of your modules and your courses, and here you will find your examinations. Fair enough. This is going to be interesting as well. You will find your personal data there, name, email address, postal address, and so on and so forth. Please check that, because it might happen that there's an error in your email address and then you can't receive your emails or whatsoever, or no letters by post. So check that. You will also find your documents online. So the admission letters, for example, and everything related, or your exmatriculation in case of. And you can request several things, for example, your exmatriculation, but you can also change your citizen status, your name, your sex, or gender, in this case sex. Okay. You can change Wahlfachbereich. If you're enrolled into 2 different study programs in different departments, I mean, you're allowed to vote, right? You can change for which department you actually want to vote for. So you can change your name. You should provide some documents for the same, because you can't change just because you want to. You have to request that on legal base and whatsoever. And you can re-enroll into the RMU study program. That's a very specific thing here in our area. We have 3 universities in Mainz, in Frankfurt, and here in Darmstadt. And you can actually enroll into the RMU studies and then take courses from the other universities as well, which might enhance your course selection. You just have to register there as well, take the courses, get your transcript, and then get back to me, because I'm responsible for the transfer of credits. It might be a good idea to clarify whether the courses can be transferred afterwards beforehand. All right, so and your health insurance agency and whatever, I'm not sure what Sperren actually means, so I won't use that. But that's really important. Check all your data, and in case you want to request something online, you will find that there. All right, now back to my own computer. Okay. High security measurements. Okay. So, as I already mentioned, 2 different Moodle systems used mainly in our university. There may be something else available we don't know about. The electrical engineering department used Clix for some times. I think that doesn't exist anymore. But I can't guarantee that other departments, other groups are not using anything else. Sometimes they will use their own websites or their own systems as well. So look that up on their course description websites, for example. Okay, the 2 different Moodles. Why? Because one is offered for all departments by the central facility HRZ, Hochschul Rechenzentrum. And the other one is offered in our department, and the benefit in our department is that we can manage the system on our own, so we can include new options, new functions, and whatever. So it's a bit more usable at some points. On the other hand, for you, it makes it a little bit more complicated because you have to identify in which Moodle course or where actually to find all the information, gather all the material, and so on and so forth. Besides, they work essentially the same, different look, and so on. I mean, you're studying in a study program of the Department of Computer Science, so I assume you can get around with the same. Therefore, it will be a short introduction. You have to log in. Always log in with your 2U ID if possible. Ignore mine. A good thing with the single sign-on is, in the best case, you only have to register once, and then you can usually just open the websites and you will have access. It's not working out all the time through, so probably you have to log in a few times a day. Okay, that's my personal account. So as you can see, I already have some courses registered. There's a working group for the internationalization strategy. My old project I got paid for several years. There's a discussion round, let's say, for the mentoring systems, and so on and so forth. What you should do is, use the dashboard. That's always a good start. Use the dashboard. And then you can scroll down and see all your courses registered, access them directly from there. If you want to register for new courses, you will find something like that. So the different terms. That's really important also for students with imposed conditions. Because if you want to take an exam this term and the course has happened last term, there will be no new Moodle course or something. And then, if possible, just register for the course from last term, gather the material, prepare on your own or in small learning groups or whatever, and take the exam. If you can't get into because either there was an automatic transfer, either get in touch with fellow students and ask if someone can provide the material for you, or get in touch with the lecturers so you can get everything you need for the exam. Sometimes you will identify that there's a key required to log into one of the courses. The credentials are usually communicated within the first week of lectures. If the course is not happening this term, or if you're missing this, either get in touch with the responsible lecturers. My recommendation here is to get in touch with the academic staff members responsible for the courses, actually. Not necessarily directly the professors. I'm always stuck with several hundred unanswered emails. Their limit is way higher. Way higher. Sometimes if you get in touch with specific professors, you will receive an automatic answer. Oh, I'm so sorry, I have, and then there's actually a counter included. I'm stuck with an arbitrary high number of unanswered emails, like 30,000 or something, so it might take a bit to receive an answer. In this case, it's quite likely that you won't receive an answer at all. So therefore, always try to get in touch with the right people to enhance your chances to get an answer soon. And there's usually at least one academic staff member, a PhD student, doctorate candidate, actually, or a postdoc responsible for the course as well. So or there is a specific email address used for the communication for this course. Then use the same. Okay, let's see what's going to happen. And again, the different departments, so Department of Computer Science. You will find the courses included here. Let's take something nice. Is there something nice? That's nice. And on the left side, you will already see the lecturer and the academic staff members. So if you can't get in touch via the Moodle course or Tucan directly, look up the names and the groups and send them an email or whatever is communicated via their websites then. You will most likely find a short overview, probably, and then you can see something like this. And that leads to the point that you have to register in Tucan to the exercises in order to automatically get into the course afterwards. It might take a bit. I think they have a poll once a week or something via the Tucan system. So after 1 week, the next batch is transferred into the course. So in the best way possible, just do it as fast as possible so you can access everything at earliest and then probably decide whether you actually want to take the course. Okay. That's more or less it. I can show something probably. The layout and the information and what's included in the different courses depends actually on the lecturers, on the different courses. You will usually have something like a discussion forum. You will most likely have something where you can ask questions. You will most likely have some contact information via the Moodle course. And then also quite common, the slides, the exercise tasks, the lab task, and whatsoever. Specifically, at the end of the term, you will find most likely some information about the exam. Like in which lecture hall you have to appear to take your exam, or what's actually included in the exam, and so on and so forth. So don't stop serving these courses. Right? Look them up from time to time at least in order to be sure not to miss any important information. You will get used to all of that, promised. So it's in the first weeks it's a pain in the ass, but you will get used to that, and then at some point it's just an automatic thing to do all the time through, right? The Moodle system of our department, learning portal, not a good translation probably. So if you go for the login, please don't use the login above, but this one. And then if you're not already registered, you will again see the single sign-on registration form. Fair enough. As you can see, I'm also the head of the mentoring system for the bachelor students. That's the reason why you can see that. And then again, you have a dashboard, you have a starting page. And then you can see the different areas of your study programs. It's the summer term already. The most actual one in the HRZ Moodle was the winter term, right? Huh, a bit outdated probably. Anyways, summer term, the mandatory courses, forget about them. That's actually structured by the basic study programs. So the mandatory ones are the ones for the bachelor's program. You will find most of your courses via the elective area. I can show that. And you can see it looks a bit more fancy because we're the Department of Computer Science. Huh? Well, nothing I'm allowed to say. He just said it's the better Moodle. Okay. So for example, that one, deep learning architectures methods, if you're interested. And below, you will see the information whether there are credentials required to register or not, right? And Selbsteinschreibung means that you can just enroll on your own into the course. And as I promised, announcements, discussions, that's used on behalf of the lecturers to spread information across the course, material. It's structured usually by the weeks at least for the integrated lectures and lectures, and they will publish the slides and whatever, at least sometimes, only after the lectures have happened to add some additional information or whatever. If you want to learn ahead, probably, and if possible, register into an older course for the same module and look up the information there. Not that many changes in lectures usually. But then, of course, look out and be aware if there are changes. Right, yeah, not available, as you can see, as I promised. And that's actually more or less it. You will also have some way of communicating. It's always a good idea to try to use the systems in a way that you get automatic updates via email, for example. Makes it way easier to identify if you have to get into the course again, right? I think you can do that for the courses, sometimes in general. Play around with the systems. That's my recommendation always. That's the best way for you. I can tell you anything, right? But you have to use that on your own in order to really be secure how to proceed. All right, any questions on the Moodle course so far? Yes. Yes. Well, okay, I mean the difference, the question was whether, what's actually the difference between the Moodle courses? I mean the main difference is the one is hosted by the central facility, the other one in our department. A little bit of different functionalities and everything, layouting a bit different, but essentially two Moodle systems. And yeah, so we can't change that much in the central Moodle system. So selection procedures, for example, for students in seminars, labs, and so on and so forth. And that's the reason why we have our own as well. Plus, the responsible person is actually working on didactics, did his PhD there, and he's using the tool also for research purposes. So that's the second reason. Okay. Yes, essentially you have to use both, at least at some point, most likely. I don't repeat this question because. The information courses? No. The question is whether computer science, actually, or information technology, whether these courses will all be included in only one Moodle. No. It's random. It depends, for example, if the lecturers don't want to spread credentials or whatever, they might use the central one. It's a little bit easier for them because they don't have to start from scratch on, and then they add an exercise in Tucan and all the students get transferred automatically. That's not applicable for our own one. That's one of the reasons why some lecturers are tending to use the central one, for example. It differs. So yeah, you have to search a lot. I had to do that on my own as well at the end of the 90s, beginning of the 2000s when I started my studies. Believe me, you will get to know where you can find which information. It's not that time consuming to just look up 2 Moodle courses at the beginning of a term and look where the specific course you're searching for is offered. And sometimes they won't even use a Moodle system at all, and you will find the material on the websites or whatever. Yeah, okay? It is usually completely, the question was whether you just have to attend the first lectures. It's getting windy here again, because I'm getting reminded to repeat the questions. Okay, the question was whether it's fine to just wait for the information in the first week of lectures, for example, and then follow the instructions. That's definitely a way to proceed. That's completely fine, first of all. On the other hand, register to the Tucan possibilities as soon as possible, because then you can access the material earlier and probably also the information and whatever. Besides, yeah, completely fine to just wait for the credentials or the information and whatever. Right, the question is whether during the term is there only a need for the Moodle courses, and is Tucan only used for the registration to the exams, Moodle's courses, whatever. In very rare cases, it is possible that the lecturers would spread the information and material via Tucan. In very rare cases, but it happens from time to time. Besides, yes, you will most likely use the Moodle courses or the websites and the material solely during the term. Right. So the question is, if you log into it's the central or the computer science Moodle. If you log in the first time into computer science Moodle, you have to select your study program, and the student asking has 2 study programs, but only one is displayed. It shouldn't make any difference, at least not from my point of view. Is there any consequence? Okay, no idea. On the other hand, if you run into problems, in our computer science Moodle, you will find the contact information for the responsible person. And he is quite fast in changing things by hand in the database. It might have a consequence, actually, when thinking it through. For example, if you want to register to a specific course and it's limited by number of participants, seminars or labs, and this is a very specific course, more or less related solely to the topics, for example, of autonomous systems, you might have better chances to get into this specific course. But I'm not even sure whether the lecturers can access this data. So this might be a difference. But it's just a wild guess, actually. So I don't think that, at least from the course registration and whatever, there won't be any difference. Okay. Any further questions? Is there something attending online actually in Austria or Switzerland? No website, no attendance. Okay. Okay, any further questions already? Otherwise, I'm just giving a short introduction into the very broken examination plan tool offered by our department. And I'm really sorry already. Okay, no questions. Everything's fine. So, you will find the link to the examination plan tool on the websites of the department. Sorry, if I move too far to the right or the left side, please. Fair enough. Thanks. It's a very old tool. It's not working out very good at the moment. But on the other hand, all the autonomous system students have to submit an examination plan, at least for now. So they have to use the same. The idea, though, is a good one. Our idea is our study regulations are not always easy to understand, with all the limits and all the required types of courses and whatever. So the basic idea is that every student in our department enrolled in one of our study programs can use the system in order to plan ahead the studies a bit. I mean, there's no guarantee that specific modules or courses are actually offered in the future, but you can at least check if I select this specific combination of courses in the electives, because the mandatory ones you have to do anyways. Will I graduate? Or is there something missing, like a seminar or some credits in a specific area and whatever? And so the basic idea is actually to help you in order to get around with our study regulations in a better way. Therefore, we are importing the whole data, which course is included in which module is included in which area is included in which study program for all study programs for all departments of the university. But only the ones we actually managed in the back end are displayed. So we could do that for any department. Don't tell them because they might ask us to do. So again, you have to log in, also single sign-on, because that's the only way to secure that. I have no idea why, but I'm receiving a lot of roles in the Tucan backend lately. I actually was able already to do all the things, but in the identity management system, I think was also, have you introduced the same already? The identity management system, IDM? Okay, in the afternoon you will get to know the identity management system. So I get a lot of new roles, and every time I get a new role, I already had, I think, I still have to agree on these thingies, and it happens in the last weeks, I don't know, every second day or something. So yeah, I accept everything. Okay, it's shiny. And you can select all these study regulations because you might be enrolled in an old one as well, right? And students from the old regulations should be able to plan ahead as well or check the things. I think we actually have at least 1 or 2 students still enrolled in the study regulations of 2004. So you select your study program, and then you find something like that. Short explanation of different things. If something gets green, it's fine. If it's red, something's missing. That's more or less what you have to look out for. And then you will see something like the Anwendungsfach, that's from an old study regulation. Ignore the same, because it doesn't matter anyways. You can select anything. It's not our job to check for the elective areas and whatever in a minor. So therefore it's just here for completeness issues, and we have not updated the same. Will be updated in the new version currently under construction, and then you can actually also select the courses from the minor to plan ahead. As I said, we have all the information, we're just not using it in this version. All right, and you can see essentially the rules of the study program I communicated yesterday in my talk. So you need at least 66 credits in computer science. You need at least 45 credits in the area of the examination-related achievements, lectures, integrated lectures. You have to select 3 and topmost 4 of the elective areas. And then you can just open the selectable modules. We combine some information from the courses and the modules so that you can see the course information and also, for example, the credit points. That's what I mentioned earlier. In Tucan, you will see the content more or less via the courses, course schedule and whatever, and the credits only via the modules. In this tool, you will, as long as we imported it and so on, you will see all the information that's required. Some of the modules are marked out. Why? They're inactive, so you can't actually choose them anymore, but you may have taken them in the past. And in order to check whether you complete the degree regulations, you definitely have to check also or take into account also the ones you pass but are not selectable for new students anymore. So let's go for IT security, and then the area gets green because minimum of 6 credits in each elective area you've taken. This condition is fine. The credits are calculated continuously, so you see that in the elective area of the Fachprüfung you need at least 39 more credits. If you identify a module or course that's not available here, but you can register for in Tucan, or if the information after selection is not identical to what you will find in Tucan, because some of the modules are whysoever not displayed in the most current version. Probably a transition database problem. Still working on that. You can definitely just add courses on your own. Like this. Ignore actually this area, just always use different or andere, because it will always be included in the area where you follow the link. Under each section, under each area, you will find this link for the transfer or the acknowledgement. And then just add the name, add the number of credits you will get. Be sure, and you can see another problem here, UTF-8. As I said, I'm so sorry. Anyways, be sure to select a matching type, because otherwise it won't be included in the area. Because that's something we're going to check, because it's not possible to add a seminar into the examination-related achievements, right? Lectures, integrated lectures or integrated courses. So let's just go for the integrated course, add the same, and you will see it's added, and 951 credits are cut off. You can actually do anything there. Be sure to use the right information in order to plan ahead in a good way, okay? If everything gets green, you're fine, and if you do the mandatory thingies as well, like the thesis or mandatory courses, you can graduate from the program in a good way. That's essentially it. The new version is going to be way more modern, way more usable, way more complete, and so on. If someone is interested to earn very little money in order to help, because we actually can't pay more than it's possible by the university in general, feel free to get in touch with me. The new version is going to be, I think, Vue.js, Nest.js, and we have a new virtual machine already, and 2 other students are already working on this project. So if you're interested to get a little extra money, probably because you are totally interested in programming, and I'm not, get in touch with me, right? Would be helpful for other students in the future to have a way better examination plan tool. That's more or less it. Any questions on that? Yes. The question is whether one has to submit an explanation plan for the autonomous systems formally before registering to the first exams in Tucan. That's the only study program where the explanation plan is still mandatory. For every other student, it's just something you can use if you want to, but you don't have to. What's also possible, and that might be interesting in the future, I can't guarantee that we can solve this in due time, but we're definitely trying. You can list your own examination plans you created. And then you can create a copy of your examination plan for a new study regulation. And then everything that can automatically be transferred, well, more or less automatically, let's say, right? And because it's included in both study programs, will already be enlisted. And you can see what's definitely transferable. And you will find the list of modules and courses you may have to request and that may be transferable or not, right? But that's definitely a feature that would be really helpful for the introduction of the new study programs and regulations from next winter on. So we're planning to actually offer that as well in the new system. And what I can do as the head of this tool, I can search for your examination plans in order that you have questions. And the autonomous system students always have questions because, as I said, I'm really sorry for the tool. So if you have any questions on this tool, you can, of course, just get in touch with me. Use the advisory service email address because there is no specific one. All right, further questions. First one, second one. The question is, what's the difference between lectures and integrated lectures? Sometimes none. An integrated lecture is a lecture where the lecturers can decide upon their own will, each offering term, if they also want to include some seminar lab parts. That's the reason why almost all our courses in these areas are nowadays integrated lectures. That's actually something we invented in our department for more flexibility for the lecturers. And that's more or less it, right? In other departments like electrical engineering, you will see something like a module, 2 courses included, a lecture and an exercise. No need to do the same in our department because the exercise can be included in an integrated lecture. It's just easier for us to manage and for the lecturers to change something for each offering term, for example. But it's a regular lecture, usually, plus eventually something else included. The smaller ones are usually just lectures, right? Because less contact hours, no need to offer labs and whatever, and then you will identify the VL ending and its lecture. Right, so, but that's actually all it is, right? So ignore whether it's a lecture or an integrated lecture. It's essentially the same. In our department, yes. In other departments, you may have something like one module with a specific amount of credits, and then you have a lot of courses included, and the course offers change every offering term. Department 2, for example. And in that case, the examinations are bound to the courses, not the module usually. And then sometimes you have to conduct 2 exams in order to achieve the whole credits for the module. Sometimes you will find something like there are 2 courses included but only 1 examination, and then it's most likely that you have to take an exam on both contents for the overall credits. So there may be differences in our department. It's usually the way: 1 module, 1 course, 1 achievement. And if you take the exam, you will get the credit, and pass it, you will get the credits, right? There is a translation from contact hours to credit points. It's just a calculation, holding true for most of the cases, not all of them. There are some exceptions though. Contact hours you will identify in the course schedule, multiplied with 1.5. For contact hours, 6 credits. 2 contact hours, 3 credits. So seminar, 2 contact hours, 3 credits. Here's one of the exceptions. If the lecturers include something like a peer review that has to be conducted by the students, it's a bit more workload, and then it's 2 contact hours, 4 credits, right? But in most of the cases, specifically for the integrated lectures and lectures, it's contact hours dot 1,5 multiplied by 1.5. You can just calculate that. Roughly 14 weeks of lectures, usually double the amount of contact hours for self-working for the students, plus the preparation time for the exam, and so on and so forth, and then you will more or less get to this factor. Okay. Okay, good question. For the autonomous system students, where to hand in the examination plan? You have to create a correct examination plan, then you have to print it, you have to sign it, then you have to submit that to the coordinator for the study program, Professor von Strück, and request an appointment usually, because the idea for the examination plan in this study program is to advise the students on all the different categories like electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, computer science, so that you actually have a good combination afterwards, right? So it's also a security measurement for these students. And also for the new study regulation, again, it's highly recommended to discuss the combination with the coordinator. And he will then sign it if everything's fine. Otherwise, you will have to change your examination plan. That's the reason why you can always create a new one in this tool, right? And then either he's going to send, or his group is going to send the same to the examination office, or you have to probably provide that to the examination office, the Studienbüro. 3 signatures needed for autonomous systems: coordinator, student, and the department, the examination office, actually. Everyone else you don't have to hand in the examination plan for the other students. I think there's a short explanation how to proceed on the website of the group from Professor von Strück. All right, any further questions? If not, we will have a short break. Wie ist denn der Zeitplan? Intercultural talk. Okay, we will have a short break till, is this clock working? It's really that late? Oh, damn. Okay, 11:45. If you have questions, you can meet me outside in my external office in the meantime. And afterwards, we will have a short, hopefully a little bit more funny talk on intercultural differences. See you.